Alright, so this is going to be another movie review. This one's called Mirage, 1965. I misspoke in my last video, I called it Mayhem, just because it started with an M and I couldn't remember the name of the movie. It's actually Mirage. I'm giving it 3 out of 5 stars. I thought the ending was way disappointing. I thought this was going to be a great flick, like a psychological thriller, but it ended up being a pro-psychiatry kind of anti-progress kind of movie towards the end. I couldn't really understand what the ending, quite honestly, or what Gregory Peck's gripe was at his former employer. But anyway, I thought it was really starting to get weird and cool flashbacks. Sort of the beginning sort of reminded me of Seconds in that regard. Also reminded me of Spellbound with all the psychiatry nonsense in there. Kind of ticked me off towards the ending. And then Gregory Peck's idealism, I don't know what that's all about, but couldn't quite follow. He says progress is coming at the expense of human lives, and I don't know what he's talking about, honestly. Makes no sense to me. But anyway, the movie starts out with some peace activists supposedly committing suicide, jumping out a window. And of course, we all know that's never the case in politics. It's always died under mysterious circumstances kind of thing. Especially the guy who was investigating the October surprise, he hated to see the sight of blood. He warned his family that people were coming to kill him. And yet the official story was that he committed suicide, which didn't seem likely. And all of his research just disappeared, vanished into thin air. So, kind of an interesting little conspiracy going there. That was one of the highlights of the movie, I guess. But I just couldn't buy that corporation would go out killing for a secret formula that somehow prevents fallout, and I'm not sure how that whole thing is nefarious. The corporation using the formula for whatever. I couldn't understand what they were going to use it for nefarious purposes. Maybe it just went over my head at the end, but anyways. So Gregory Peck seems to be suffering from amnesia, although later the head shrinker says, oh, wow, I've got 5 people in live chat. Anyways, that's surprising. Now I've got 6 people. Anyways, well, 4. I guess 2 left. 1, 2, yeah. So I still got 4 watching me live. I just said howdy on the live chat. Wasn't expecting that many people here. But I guess it's Sunday night. Never had that many on live chat before. Getting back to the movie. It's a complicated movie. It's hard to understand. It's definitely convoluted. I couldn't understand the ending. If somebody can explain it to me, maybe I can get a better understanding. Anyways, so Gregory Peck seems to be suffering from amnesia, even though the head shrinker says later on that it's possible to have amnesia for 2 years, adding to the confusion. He's had a traumatic experience, and he's blocking out some memories somehow. I don't know if that's amnesia or something else. They never really explained it in the movie, but I can't remember his girlfriend. There's a blackout in his building in New York, and he thinks he's a cost accountant. But so George Kennedy is in the basement. He goes searching for his girlfriend, who's he thinks she's in the basement, but he's thinking of another building in California that has 3 sub-levels. So he goes to the basement, just kind of haphazardly. George Kennedy is there. George Kennedy tells him to scram. So he does, and then he goes to see a head shrinker and a detective. The head shrinker kicks him out, and the detective, played by Walter Matthau, decides to take the case since it's only his first case. But then Gregory Peck starts acting crazy, and Walter Matthau starts talking about giving him his money back. But then he's being followed around by the George Kennedy character, I guess. And I think his name is Willard. So George Kennedy is like haranguing him. There's also another character. I forgot his name, but he was in Palm Springs. Was it Palm Springs Vacation? Or Palm Springs Weekend or something. He played the coach in that movie. Keeps holding up Gregory Peck, and he tells him, he turns on the wrestling show on his TV. He tells Gregory Peck to bring an empty attache case to the general. So, of course, Gregory Peck disagrees. He somehow manages to overpower people with guns. Don't ask me how, but he ends up beating him over the head with a stick or something. Puts him in the closet, and then starts putzing around looking at a psychiatry book. He decides to call up the one of the psychiatrists who's referenced in the book somehow. So he goes there. He's not really a psychiatrist who sees actual clients. He's more like a consultant head shrinker. The head shrinker gets mad at him, tells him he's coming up with a fake story to get him out of legal trouble. And wow, I've got 0 people in live chat now. Well, that didn't last very long. I guess I bored everybody to death. Anyways, the consultant head shrinker tells him that he's just trying to get him into legal trouble. somehow, and he kicks him out. Then he goes to see the AAA detective agency, Walter Matthau. So Walter Matthau reluctantly agrees to take the case, since it's only his first case and George Kennedy is following him around. Then his girlfriend pops up, tells him he's lucky he's not dead, and his girlfriend agrees to take him to see the concierge at the building that he was working at. Joe Turtle is his name. So he shows up. Joe Turtle is dead in the bathtub. A rather gruesome scene there. Pretty cool with Joe Turtle's back of his head struck with a blunt object, bleeding all over the place. Pretty cool stuff. And then he goes back to see Walter Matthau. Walter Matthau's dead. There's also the guy from Invasion of the Body Snatchers, Kevin McCarthy, I think his name is, in this one. He plays one of the general stooges, I guess. And then all of a sudden, Gregory Peck starts having a series of flashbacks. He starts remembering things, his discussion with the peace activist dude under the tree. Turns out that the peace activist dude is just a mouthpiece for the corporation, who is aiming at nefarious activities that I can't quite understand. It's like watching the end of Superman 4, Quest for Peace kind of thing. Didn't make any sense. And yeah, it was unfortunate. I had high hopes for this movie. It was like the opposite of the last movie that I watched, which had a terrible beginning and a great ending. This movie had a great beginning and a terrible ending. I didn't like the Gregory Peck character towards the end. I liked him better when he had the forgetfulness issue. He was having flashbacks and cool shots of the guy falling off out of the building. So, bit disappointed with this one. I'm not saying it's a terrible movie, but definitely just dislike the latter parts. Just skip it. The first 45 minutes or so. Or actually, no, that was the last movie. So skip the last 45 minutes or so. Just watch the first 45 minutes, and I think the movie will be a lot better in terms of quality. But yeah, I wanted to give this one 5 out of 5 stars after getting about halfway through when I was with my son at Starbucks earlier in San Mateo. I just got home, had some chicken enchilada. I wasn't too hungry because I went to Outback Steakhouse for lunch. Got this New York steak, a fully loaded potato, and a side salad, house salad. So, I got one viewer back in live chat. Anyways, not a great flick. I wasn't too hungry, so I had the chicken enchiladas, and watched the end of this, which was terrible, the ending of this movie, after a great beginning. So it's like a roller coaster, similar to the last movie, although in reverse. So I'm not going to say highly recommended, check it out. I can post the trailer in the description box. But it reminded me a lot of Seconds and Spellbound. Kind of a mix of the two. I know Spellbound isn't one of my favorite Hitchcock movies, but for the same reason, the psychiatry angle. Gregory Peck says that the head shrinker is genius, I guess because he doesn't subscribe to Freud or something. I don't know what the heck is going on. What makes this guy so special? Another one of those plot holes in this movie. This movie confused the heck out of me towards the end. I just couldn't understand what was going on. And like I said, maybe it went over my head. I don't know. But somebody can explain it. Put it in the comments section of this video later.